that?
What?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go live.
What else did we did something else though, so it wasn't. Mute it?
Yeah. So they'll sit there and wait until you go back to Zoom. Yeah, you're up.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hold. Hold that so you go live on your. Now you're gonna be live on the rest. Live on your.
Let's see.
Guess seeing as how I'll be in here by myself,
where do I mute it? Oh, right here. Oh, and I want to start. Challenging, right? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ron.
Yeah, I am somewhat challenged. I'm trying to find the buttons don't want to come off the bottom. There we
There you are. You muted yourself though, Ron.
go. I'm okay, right? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can.
Yes. I can too.
Okay. Oops, sorry. I'm making rustly sounds with my paper.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I can hear you, Mayor.
Okay,
We're waiting on Carol and Glinda.
okay.
Mayor, are you going to turn your video on?
Oh,
No? Okay.
I will, yes. There we go. How's that?
Better. Yeah. Glinda. Okay, Glinda's jumping on. And I talked to Carol earlier, so she's coming on. Mayor, if you want to go ahead and get started, and then if Carol, if I see her coming in, I'll just let her join. I know I talked to her earlier and she was going to be on, so I'm not sure if she's having some technical difficulties maybe. Oh. Patrick. You want to start?
Yes, we can get started with a flag salute.
Can we dispense with the flag salute because it's kind of difficult on the,
Okay. Then I'll accept a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I move.
I second.
Moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Department reports. Chief, you want to start?
Sure. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey, operations are pretty normal. We had 25 calls last month for service. Motorcycle should be up and going this week for the most part. Well, basically it.
Is there any questions for the chief?
There we go. I got a few on here. Sorry.
No questions? Thank you, chief.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike Fisher, you on there?
Yes. How are we today? Everything's going along pretty good. The park's slowly opening back up. The water line tap in for today was up at the top by the reservoir. The new service went into the new house today. It went off pretty good. No issues. Everything went well. And we got our summer help is hired. You might have seen him riding around on the lawnmower or the gator. So that's going well also. And that's pretty much it. We're getting ready to open up the bathrooms and the parks and all that stuff. So looking forward to that.
Okay, is there any questions for Mike?
I,
Go ahead.
well, I have a question. My next door neighbor wants to put a fence across the alley. And how are we going to be able to maintain the weeds and grass in the alley? Because she wants a fence on both ends.
Well,
Well, go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry. I thought that was a question for me. From what I understand, from what I've kind of been told from Mr. Cravens, is that the residents take care of the alley be adjacent to their property. So I guess it would be up to them. Is that what I'm understanding?
that's correct.
Okay. Okay,
I guess if she puts a fence up, it would be up to her to take care of it.
it'd be, yeah. It'd be her. She has to take care of the alley. Okay,
Correct. Yes.
all right. Just wanted to check.
Okay.
Any more questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike. Michelle, you're up.
So just want to inform everybody that the Baptist Church did ask for use of the park for their Sunday services. And the mayor and I went ahead and met about this. So they want to meet at 9 and 11 a.m. They'll be out by noon on Sundays. And they would take care of the restrooms and all cleanup of the restrooms while they're using it and take care of all their garbage. So what we decided that we would go ahead and allow them to do that with no fees for the park, and because they'll actually be kind of doing us a favor. So wanted to inform everybody of that. I do need to request that we have a special meeting next Monday, and that would be to accept the bids for the 2 street projects, and the street project and the sidewalk project. And I was wondering if 4 o'clock we could do a Zoom meeting next Monday.
Yeah,
That- work
fine.
for everybody?
Fine with me.
Okay, I'll get that set up and I'll send all the information out for that meeting
I'm
then.
sorry. Can we go back just a second to the church meeting in the park?
Sure.
I just feel like that's too soon. I mean, is it too soon? I mean, what are the state guidelines? What are the, health recommendations of that,
They're following the state guidelines. It probably will not start until, I think it's the 21st of June.
Oh,
And we'll-
okay.
Yeah, and we'll be in phase 3 by then.
Okay. I was
So-
just not aware of like where we were with the phases with that. So if we still have some time, I'm fine. Like, yeah, that
Okay.
makes me
Yeah.
feel a little better. So,
I think everything else is going to be under COVID-19
okay,
that I have.
okay.
Michelle, I have a question. Rick was asking me about the Little Tykes graduations. He had some mothers down there measuring the concrete slab. Have you heard anything about the graduation thing?
We have not heard anything about the graduation. I thought it was canceled, so we'll check on that tomorrow.
Okay, because Rick said that he told the mothers to check at City Hall, but if you haven't heard nothing, then they haven't checked yet.
We'll check on that.
Okay, anything else, Michelle?
No, that's it.
Does anybody have any questions for Michelle? Okay, thank you, Michelle. Let's move on. And the new business, liquor license approval for Bonanza Barbecue. It's in your packet. Everybody get a chance to read it?
Mhm.
I'll entertain a motion for that.
I make a motion, we approve the liquor license for Bonanza Barbecue.
Second.
Moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, number 2 on the new business, fence agreement request, Veronica Jones. Everybody get a look at that diagram. I'm kind of confused a little bit on it.
Was
Mike?
it that,
Can you give me some input on that fencing?
I believe, oh. I'm sorry, was that question for me, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mike.
Basically, I think what they want to do is they want to put a fence on each side of their property, 6 feet out in the alleyway, which has been done before. It seems to me I've seen that you guys have allowed that before.
We have, Mike, and you are correct. But it kind of looked like it was attached to a garage or something. Is that?
Yeah, it actually, it was, and we've contacted them, so I assume that is going to be corrected.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that has been corrected. And in talking with these people, I believe they're going to actually have a survey done because they feel that neighbor's garage is probably 3 to 6 feet over on their property. So I explained to them that would be all civil and that's their best route is to have a survey done. So I haven't heard for sure if they are doing that, but that is up to them. So what happened, this lady actually put her fence up not knowing our protocols and she would have to get a fence agreement to be on city property. So that's why you see the attached letter too with this.
Okay.
And so gave her the directions on what she's supposed to do, and she apologized and then turned in her letter actually asking request. So there will be some forms that if you guys agree to it, that she'll need to sign to, that basically states that if the city were to need to go through that alley for any reason, they would have to tear it down at their expense.
Yes. So we have to agree on this tonight, the council does? Is that correct, Michelle?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm looking at this a little closer. And it shows my shop on her property, and that's not true.
No,
I-
Guy, you can't look at the map that's on the GIS map. And that's why kind of drew in a deeper black line where her property kind of is, because that's just an estimate from the sky. So you
Okay.
have to really go by what her drawing is of what she wants to do.
Okay, just, I know I I found my property line before I put that top up, and it's on my property. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Well, according to my drawing, I'm sure everybody else has got the same drawing. The neighborhood shop, the roof does look like it's hanging over the line. So,
Over what line?
just the line that she drew, Guy. She drew a temporary. On the right side, you see a neighborhood shop. The line, the roof is over that. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that. That's their issue, not ours.
Yeah, all we need to agree upon is whether they could use 6 foot of our alley or not.
Yes.
I make a motion to allow a fence variance for Veronica, what is her last name? Veronica Jones.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you all. Okay, number 3 on the new business, temporary use of right-of-way, Bonanza Barbecue. Look at your brochures on that one. He's got it roped off, but he said I've talked to him since this has come out. He is not going to rope it off. He's just going to place the tables closer to his barbecue pit, but they're going to be stationed 6 feet apart, so there's no conflict of that. And he's going to only limit 5 people per table, and there will be no conflict over that. He's just asking to use the alley, and he will move them closer on Saturday. When he closes down, he'll move all the tables closer to the barbecue pit, so it shouldn't inhabit our street or nothing right away to hurt us or anything like that. So I'm just throwing that extra in there that you didn't have in your report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, can you tell me why they're not going to rope it off? Was that something that they just decided on their own to not do, or did somebody have something to say about it, or what was the deal?
No, he just figured that the tables should be self-explanatory, that he didn't need a rope to cause people to funnel in or whatever. They could just go sit at a table. Was his think of, rope kind of funnels people, and then you might get a bunch of crowds, and you get them all close together. So there you are. Here we go again of 6 feet apart and all that stuff. He said it's just better to leave the rope out of it and let them go sit down at the tables. I do have a limit of 5 people per table. He will post that on the tables.
Awesome. Well, I think anything we can do to enhance the availability for our local businesses to continue conducting business is not only in our best interest, but in the community's best interest. So I make a motion to approve the temporary, let's see, it's a temporary use of right-of-way for Bonanza Barbecue.
Second,
Okay, I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to make sure that there's no alcohol out there, since they're just getting an alcohol license. That the outside tables cannot have alcohol unless if they go follow the
That would
guidelines.
probably be in the restaurant, like as a restaurant, you cannot serve alcohol unless it is like,
Roped off.
roped off. So if they
Right.
were to do that, it would have to be more of probably a,
roped off
professional setting. So,
I
but
just
yes,
don't,
I would absolutely agree with you. No alcohol outside unless it is like,
like, through the correct channels.
Well,
Yes.
Carol, when I was talking to him, he just wanted to generate more business for outside when the nicer weather hits.
Yeah,
And
I
he
think
didn't- He didn't say anything about alcohol, so I agree with you on that one too. I like that.
However,
I think it's
though, I think that either they need to do their due diligence and look that up, or we do, or something, because I don't want to prohibit somebody from doing something that they potentially legally could do.
absolutely. I mean, you don't want
Right.
those loggers coming after a hard day's work, wanting to have some ribs and kick back with
For the beer, I mean, if that
Yeah.
means the business.
Right.
So
Right, but-
I don't think we should be presumptuous of just because they're on our right of way doesn't mean that their liability insurance wouldn't cover them and that kind of
Right.
stuff. So,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, somebody needs to do their due diligence, and perhaps Michelle, if you can maybe just ask them to double check on all that in case their liquor license comes through during this time frame. But I don't know that we should tell them not. I mean, I personally, I do a beer garden or a wine garden at events at
Yeah,
the senior
done.
center. So, I rope off an area, granted, but there
Right.
just may be more to that. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I just want to make sure that they have all capabilities of conducting
Yeah, if they
business.
wanted to serve alcohol, there's additional protocol that they would have to do through the Liquor Control Board's ruling. And it couldn't be just out in the open like that. There would have to be some kind of barrier so that it shows that you're not serving to any
Minors.
kid that walks through or something like
Yeah.
that. So we will reinforce what the rules are to them, but I'm sure that they know them already.
I'm sure they do too. They're very good and capable.
Mhm.
Can we also clarify that they have liability insurance to cover our part?
Definitely. Thank you, Ron.
Okay, getting back to the motion. We've had discussion on it. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, new business number 4, the code book update quote. Looks like a chunk of money.
Yeah, it is. So it's been a while since we've updated our code book. And so they've estimated there's about 200 pages and it's going to cost about $3,600 to just under $4,000 to update the code book. And this would bring it forward to present. And they'll look through some of our codes too to see if there's laws that supersede it. So there's a bunch of attorneys that works in these companies. So, and this would include, all of you guys would have a printed copy of it too. So then the other part of it is possibly putting it online, and they're saying that it would probably be about $550 and then to post it $500 a year. And with doing this, it gives the citizens the ability to be able to do like a word search if they want to look up, say, like dog ordinance or
Mhm.
nuisance. They could just do, type in nuisance, and then all of our laws on nuisances would come up and they can use it that way. It can also help staff, even, public works, police department, and city hall. If we're looking up something right now, I mean, we're reading the code book all over the place, and it will give us that same ability that we could just use a word search and
Mhm. That would be so
information will come up.
useful.
Yeah.
I can't tell me how many times I've looked for codes, city codes, everything, like, wish it was on my phone, so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it will help that too. Now, what this doesn't do is put the building codes and land use codes. That is a separate book. And I could work with Officer Patrick is the officer that actually helps us with our website. And we could actually put that information on our website too as a separate document. So this is what I have.
So are we just way behind time on this thing, or is, I like to go digital or whatever we got to do to update it to the future.
Yeah, we need to get with our 5K abilities here, right?
I think so, Emily, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, it's been 15 years since we've done an
Okay.
update. And mostly it mostly has to do with money and finances. But by doing it
Actually,
every
no.
year.
Yeah,
Is
the
it
finances aren't in part of the code book. Are you talking about the cost of it?
the cost of it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it has to do with, having the money on hand to do it, because
Yes,
it's not
yes.
a cheap project.
No.
But, to do it every year like that at $3,600 a year, that's kind of much. But, $500 a year, it's like, okay, that's doable. Plus it keeps it updated and we wouldn't have to keep going through this. So,
Yeah, correct.
and not to mention it makes it handy and useful for anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all for easier, faster and better, and let's get to the, 21st century.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, because we did not budget for it
Okay.
specifically. So would need a motion from the council. Money would be available out of all of the departments. It doesn't come out of just one department. So it does come out of all the departments, and then we would do a budget amendment for
So do you
this
need a
later
special
on.
type of wording?
I just need a motion to go ahead and approve the quote for the code book amendment.
So moved.
So moved.
I need a second.
I second.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been moved in second. Any more discussion? Now, to clarify, Michelle, this is we're going to go computer, right?
Right,
Not the book?
both.
We're gonna have both.
Both. For
Yeah.
what, the same price, 3,600 to 3,900?
To do the printed copies, it's the 3,600 to 3,900, and the digital is the 550.
Okay.
So
That would be good for ever with 500 or whatever we got to do for updates every year then, correct?
no. So this will just be for them to host it. So if we wanted any other printed copies for updates, there will be additional fees. And if you guys don't want your books after we get this done, you could get those turned in, then you don't have to have them cluttering up your homes too.
Okay.
But the 500 a year to host it though, do they do automatic updates at that point? At the
Yes.
500? Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I
yeah.
think the mayor was asking, was it would be automatically updated every year for that $500 per year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Moving on to number 5 in the new business, the COVID-19.
So going to a lot of meetings. And the Economic Development Council did deliver business goodie bags here. We received about 20 of them. Inside them are some signs for windows. There's both cloth and disposable face masks. There's some little things you could put on your floor to keep people 6 feet apart and stuff like that. And some additional information for the businesses that they could go online and look up to what they may need. So we've given out 1, 2, 3, like 6 of them so far, 7 of them so far. So Mike Morgan is kind of getting the word out to all the businesses that they can come pick them up at City Hall or contact us and we'll get those delivered. That was a good thing. A lot of meetings are all still virtual, and we did get $25,000 for COVID that could only be used for certain things. And so we went ahead and did hire somebody to clean the restrooms, both at the park and at the boat launch, twice a day, 5 days a week. Probably be like a Wednesday through Sunday thing, and then Public Works and our park host will do Mondays and Tuesdays. So we'll get him going on that, and extra supplies needed to keep those restrooms clean during this problem. It's not going to take all the $25,000. So we'll look at other ways to spend this money. Like I said, it does have to be very specific related to COVID. I had applied for FEMA help also. I have a meeting with them this week on that. Department of Commerce has also contacted me. I have a meeting with them again tomorrow on some other protocols and funding. And so lots of meetings. And then we need to discuss any opening protocols that we want to do for City Hall. In your packets, there's a pink document that kind of talks about the different phases of reopening. Government we're not supposed to really reopen till phase 3. They're still encouraging that things, to telework and do things online as you can. I know a lot of cities and different government buildings are putting in the plexiglass. We don't have anything like that here currently. I don't know if, I haven't talked to Public Works if that's something that they can build for us or hire somebody to build something like that for us. Or if we just want to limit people coming in to one, we could put signs on the door that they have to call for appointment to be able to even come in. What are some thoughts on opening City Hall?
Has it been difficult being closed?
It's been quiet, but no, it hasn't been difficult. We haven't heard any complaints. I mean, we're still operating, taking people's money, a lot more phone calls, I guess.
Mhm.
And so building permits is something different. So we have to make appointments with people for building permits, which isn't, a big hassle. We've been working through that,
And then another question, sorry. Phase 3, which is opening in the 21st of June, you said, or in that area?
around that time period.
And then, so would it be safer, do you think, to open buildings then? Or, I mean, would you be required to still wear face masks and?
We can require that. I mean, we're following certain protocols here, especially with cash. We don't want to just, touch it. So we have gloves available, and we've had a lot of those type of items, gloves, hand sanitizer, and face masks donated through different government agencies.
Michelle, quite frankly, somebody that's been dealing with this actually for a couple of months, which you are aware of, I feel like you're in the best position to make a decision on what is best for you and your staff without the dictation of this council. We're not living your everyday life. We don't know what it's like for you to work at your desk or at the counter or opening a door to someone. That's really, on you. I think you're in the best position to make that decision for you and your staff. And the same thing for the water department, the police department. I mean, you guys know your work environment better than anybody does. And the other piece of that is the only thing I think I guess I would like to see is the installation for sure, the plexiglass sneeze guard, with a gap underneath it where you can pass money and things back and forth, and part of that 25,000, I mean, it's going to take less than 50 minutes to do that. So we do have funds to do those kinds of things. And outside of that, I think it's totally up to you on when your staff comes back full time, how you're doing your office. I don't even think that should be a motion or a vote for this council at all. You're in the best position. I trust your judgment.
I think the one thing that we should do is to be very clear of our support of your ability to make those decisions. And if it's prudent to add screens, if it's prudent to limit the number of people, then there again, I think we want to be supported because that's your day-to-day operation. So I agree with Brenda 100%.
Thank you.
I think a good thing to do would be to talk to the manager of the fresh market and find out how much it cost him to get them made. And that'll give you a firm number of what it would cost to get the plastic shield.
And our Public Works is probably capable of getting that figured out for us.
Okay.
Right, Mike?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you seen them around, Mike? Have you know what sizes to get and everything like that?
Yeah, they're pretty common throughout. It's not all supports some way to nail it down to the counter so that if somebody touches it, it won't fall over. Leave the gap underneath of it. Pretty simple. We don't want Michelle trying to reach through and grab somebody, so we'll have to make it kind of sturdy.
Yeah, she might have to reach through and grab somebody and jab slap them. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I don't want you hanging over the top, Michelle, with your nose hanging on the edge, looking down at somebody either. So, you know.
wow, yeah. Maybe we better make it tall.
That'd be a good cartoon, wouldn't it?
Jill has to be able to do her work too through it.
Okay, so we want a motion on this COVID-19 or let Michelle take the reins on
I
this?
don't think we need one. I mean,
I agree.
she's doing her job. Just let her keep doing her job.
Okay, is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll let that one go. We don't need a motion on it. Okay, I don't see any other new business, unfinished business, nothing, other business, public input. Any of you guys got anything you've been hearing around town or want to discuss right now? Is the time to do it. Make it
I've
short,
heard that there's
quick.
I heard there's going to be implementation of curfews statewide, and that there is going to be targeting by protest groups for smaller communities. Toledo might be too small for that, but I just wondering if the chief has heard anything at all on that.
Yeah, I've heard that too about the small community targeting. I'm really not super concerned about that, but you know, we'll take that on a case by case basis, of course, you know. So I'm sure that'll just be outside people and obviously, so I don't think any of the citizens here are going to be doing anything.
So are they, Ron, are you talking about like outsiders coming into our communities, infiltrating?
Outsiders coming out of the Seattle and area and going to Longview, and they go to Longview, then we can easily become a side trip. Then the other thing is, would they require our assistance from our law enforcement down there if it gets out of control in Longview?
We can go down there and request it if we have the manpower to do so, yes.
Sure.
That hasn't happened yet. But it can happen, sure.
Yeah, I just saw a post on Facebook organization. They want hundreds of people to show up in Olympia tonight, you know? So.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
but that's a
absolutely crazy.
Facebook post. And the actual reality of it actually happening, very slim.
Yeah, when I saw the news last night, and I was over in Idaho, but I saw the local 4 news and watched for an hour and a half, and to be honest with you, it's downright frightening, the status of how quickly things that could just turn really violent, and that's
right. Well, I just tell you right now, if that does come here, our jail budget's gonna be really ruined because there's gonna be a lot of people going to jail. So that's my opinion on that whole thing. And quite frankly, also, I think some of those people come down here, they're gonna have a rude awakening with citizenry around here. So I think they're
yeah, I was actually kind of pleased when I saw West Naomi.
You know, I think that personally, we as a city need a message of hope and love and support and open heartedness towards people of color, which is what this seems to be about. And fortunately, we have some moving into Toledo. I'm very excited about that. And so I think that this is such a huge issue, and we are on the I-5 corridor. I think it is wise for us to be aware of it, but don't trust Facebook at all.
Yeah, well, I'm not so concerned.
For your news source, yeah.
I listened to the chief of police in Bellevue last night. He said it very well. He met with the peaceful protesters and said they need to work. I support them 100%. And then he pointed his hand up the street where they were doing millions of dollars worth of damage. And he says, we can't tolerate that, and we need to stop it as quickly as possible. And
Absolutely.
I think that's the stance I have, is that we need to be appalled by the events of brutal death. But on the other hand, we can't condone
No,
random destruction,
no.
Well, there's a
But
difference.
having been in the WTO protests and been in a huge crowd of those, I mean, I was in the thick of that. This is much bigger, but still it is such a volatile, unpredictable mob. Most of the time it's peaceful, but you do have the instigators. They
Right.
are there.
I think it's
but
very
the
important to understand, though.
dominant-
It's
Hmm?
very important to understand there's a difference between a protest and a riot. And,
Absolutely.
and the
Yes.
protest, I don't have a problem with. I
No.
totally agree with their right to do that. But
Yes.
when it becomes a riot, now that's a criminal matter. In my opinion.
Absolutely.
That needs to be dealt with and not accepted. I think there's a big difference in between, and people need to learn how to tell the difference between one or the other.
Yep.
I really take issue with when the news says, "Oh, these protesters are breaking and ripping the stuff off." That's not a protest. That's a riot. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's my opinion. But
Yeah.
I think
Those are looters just, deliberately trying to destroy property and
right.
Right.
They
Nothing
don't
to
do
do
this
with the
man any
protest.
justice by doing that stuff. So
Protests are people that also bring their kids out to protest. Their families doing that kind of thing. It's different than looters and rioting. And so I think that yeah, it's very
and it's okay
disturbing.
to protest, but rioting is not acceptable.
In today's environment, the last couple of days environment, protests can very easily turn into a riot. And that's the thing that concerns me.
Right.
Mhm.
One bleeds into the other.
You hope to God it doesn't happen, but it can.
Yep.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, the city of Longview has been dealing with this for the last 3 evenings with rioters and doing destruction. So they are expecting another one tonight. And
Wow.
so last night they did break windows at their local police department. And there's been a lot of graffiti on buildings, both public and private buildings, cars being kicked and just different things going on. So it isn't that, Ron's correct, it's not that far from us. So it isn't
No.
to bury our heads in the sand, but be cognizant of what is going on close to us. And like we are on the I-5 corridor that was mentioned too. So, Dawn's handling things and our police department's fully aware of what's going on and handling as, if anything were to happen. But a lot of those protesters or rioters are getting met with citizens of Longview too. So they're ready to stand up.
This is just a terrible, terrible thing. This is a terrible thing. These are this is just, it's awful. So I was at the beach for several days. I had no idea any of this stuff was going on. And I came and I was like, oh my God, it's like gone down to hell. So another level. Woohoo. Who knew? Here we are.
The whole thing is a tragedy, that's for sure.
It is. Absolutely. So anyway.
Anybody got anything else? I think I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. We'll see you next Monday night.
On
4
next
o'clock.
Monday night.
4
Good night,
o'clock.
everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.